So I'm going to be looking at psychological safety as a vehicle for belonging, and primarily from a leadership and an organizational development perspective. So it's become a bit of a buzzword around cultural change these days, and there's a lot of research been done around it. It's a massive driver of organizational performance and team performance, having psychologically safe cultures. And while we have a pretty clear idea from Amy Edmondson's work around what psychological safety looks like, we don't know how to get there. Like the how is still uncertain and complex. So I'm going to be exploring like the how of psychological safety as a vehicle for belonging.
Great.
That sounds great, Errol.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Because for me, that psychological safety, it's just so important in a work, particularly when you're probably, with the issues I'll be bringing in, like there's the topics I'll be bringing in to our workshop. And like I want to look at what the topical issues that are happening right now in the news and stuff. So the voice to Parliament, that's something I'd like to be able to unpack with the participants, because I think that, there's this space there for us to work with some of that. There's big parts that people don't understand. And, if we're talking about the issue of belonging in this country, then us Aboriginal people have had to fight for our right to belong in this country, even though we consider it our country. But just unpacking some of that stuff, and the things that are happening in Alice Springs at the moment, the deaths in custody, the case of Kumanjay Walker, which is coming up next week, a part of that. But how that relates to that historical context and stuff, and how that whole sense of loss for us around land, how that plays out. But at the same time, we know we belong here. We have a real strong sense of belonging here that's very deep. And, we have an incredible connection with this place. So how those things all play out in my life, but in the lives of in the lives of other people as well, and then in speaking to you both about that. So I'm excited. I get really excited about this sort of topic. For me, it's my passion, and to be able to share stuff with other people and to be able to hear how they are with that, and to explore how other people are thinking about these things, and how that fits for them in their sense of belonging.
Yeah.
That's
great. Sorry, you go, Liz.
No, you go. No, you go.
I was just going to say, I think that's so important, as we're building towards, whatever's going to happen in terms of debate and discussion around the voice and the referendum, and how do we do that in a healthier, safer, respectful, more aware kind of way. So I think, what you're doing is so important, and so it doesn't go down the pathway which happened around the marriage equality debate, for example, where it got really fractious and personal and painful, So I think that's what you're doing is so important as momentum builds to that discussion and referendum.
Thanks, Errol.
Yeah, I'm also thrilled you're bringing this topic and the space we're going to make for that, because I just think, this colonial process is just like the deep wound of this country. And, the voice is one thing that's happening at the moment, but this is a long ongoing process. And part of that is around belonging and exclusion. And as sort of a theme within a much more complex process. So I just think it's such a great opportunity to really do some work there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what we we all come up with or have what comes out of it.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah.
I think it'll be very moving work.
Yeah.
In my session, I was really going to take a slightly different direction, different and the same, whatever, but to really focus on the inner dynamics of belonging and unlivability. And so just sort of acknowledging that outer patterns are reflected in inner patterns and vice versa, and the kind of social dynamics around belonging are replicated in our internal worlds, and ways in which parts of us or our experiences are unlived or are unlivable, and how that impacts on a sense of belonging internally, but then also relationally, and then in place as well. So I kind of think you can't do one without the other. They're kind of, we talk about them separately, but the lived experience of inner and outer patterns of belonging, they're lived in an enmeshed moment. So that's what I was going to focus on in sort of the delivery part that I'm leading.
That's so cool. It feels like that's like, for my topic, that's very complementary. It's like I'm doing the outer stuff, you're doing the inner stuff, and the interplay of those two, I think, is really important. That's like really cool.
Well, and I think Colleen is like, I'm doing inner psychological world, you're doing interrelational world and systemic. And Colleen, you're really like place. You're talking a lot about place and belonging and place. So it feels like there's these three different kinds of parts emerging as our different topics kind of unfold. But they're also all really interconnected as well.
Yeah, yeah.